little frustration here. Diggs wants to win. He's a highly emotional player.
Late night WEEI 617-779-7937. Text line 37937 KJ. Late night. Thanks for hanging out. That was towards the end of the Bills game with the Bengals and the frustration with Stephon Diggs not getting the ball from Josh Allen. Folks, it's the beginning of the end before they even had a beginning in Buffalo. Joe, you remember last week where a guy called up from Buffalo and he had his chest out?
Yes, I know exactly who you're talking about.
And I kind of got on him for using kind of what I call drama porn, if you will, to get his point across about the team. And all I said to him is, Joe Burrow is an assassin. Joe Burrow is going to win.
Yes, I remember that. I think those were your exact words.
Yes, because you can see the difference between those who expect it to be given to them and those who go out and get it for themselves. And that's what you see with Cincinnati, and that's what you're starting to see crumble from the situation with the Bills. It was this year for them to win. I mean, my goodness. You think I talk about Mac Jones and the hand-holding that goes on. My God, the Bills in the NFL.
I would say about 80% of people who watch football were picking the Bills to win the Super Bowl.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think the whole idea was that that's the narrative that they wanted to have go out was the Bills have suddenly become America's team, because of the Damar Hamlin situation. And even when they had gone to Damar Hamlin and showed him as the Bills were trying to drive, I was like, hasn't he been there the entire time? Why are we cutting to a shot to him now? What? That's just too much TV. Let's just stick to the game. But the Bills, this was the year they were supposed to do it. I mean, you remember last year? Well, we should have gotten the ball too. And it didn't work out for them when it came to the Chiefs. So they changed the rule. Hey, everybody gets the ball in overtime, even if they score a touchdown. Then we go to sudden death. They're like, what do you, huh? Then, because of what happened in the original Cincinnati-Buffalo game, hey, if Buffalo and Kansas City make it to the AFC Championship game, the game won't be in Kansas City. We're going to move it to indoors in Atlanta. Unbelievable. That's why Joe Burrow at the end of the game said, well, guess you better get your refunds. I love that guy.
What do you think about the Burrow? Sorry not to go off track, but what do you think about the Burrow comparisons to Tom Brady?
He's probably the closest thing that we're seeing to it in real time. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily knock it just because there's this ice cold veins thing. Now to help that narrative, they've got to get back to the Super Bowl, which I think they can do. And he's got to win it, and I think he will, and it would be the first for Cincinnati.
You better send those refunds.
Better send them. But when you look at why I say the Bills are in trouble and that this whole AFC JV banner thing that they've been doing is in trouble, next year, they're already over the cap. And I hate cap talk, but this is important when I tell you this, is that let's just say Stephon Diggs says, I want out of here. Well, his cap hit will be $45 million if you try to get rid of him. It's still going to go against your cap. Von Miller, oh, that's the albatross right there. And he's hurt too. $18 million next year, $40 million if you get rid of him. They're over leveraged. They paid for now, and they're going to be paying for it starting right now. So the only beneficial thing that they have going is that players like Gabe Davis and Isaiah McKenzie, those guys aren't free agents for a couple more years. But at the end of the season, coming up, Jordan Poyer is a free agent. Let's see.
Tremaine Edmonds, that's a big one.
Tremaine Edmonds, but you figure they're going to try and keep that interior lineman going.
Shaq Lawson.
Yeah, Lawson.
Dean Marlowe.
Yeah, so you've got some things in front of you, Devin Singletary, which you probably see better value out of him. You've got Cook there. But where they are right now, is in a quandary. And then you say, okay, well, could this potentially be an opening for the Patriots? Sure. They got $40 million in space. And let's just face it, you might not see Hunter Henry here next year because his cap hit is $15 million, but if you get rid of him, it's only a $5 million hit. So you might just have to ride it out with Jonnu Smith for one more year because you just can't. Well, you might get rid of him and pay the extra $2 million. So there are players in place that can be replaced and you can make your move. And this is why I think the Patriots have to be more serious than ever about what the future of the franchise is going to be over the next 3 years. Because if it's just a lot of chaos like it has been this year and a little bit of it the year before, just a little bit of it, it's not going to bode well for the team moving forward when the team that's supposed to be head and shoulders above everybody else for the rest of the division for a while, that plane is coming in for a landing suddenly.
Yeah, I don't think anyone was happier than like the Dolphins in the past to see the Bills lose, thinking, there's actually a shot at the division for the way they looked against Cincinnati.
It may even make the Dolphins make a hasty move if they don't know what they can get out of Tua, right? Because you've got all these great pieces around him, but you just don't know if Tua is going to be able to get it all together to be there consistently for a full season. So even Miami, with all the weapons that they have, if you have no quarterback, it doesn't matter what those weapons do. And let's just say they have half of a quarterback right now because you don't know what the other part of that's going to be. So at the end of the game, Bengals, where the Bengals win decisively. Think about it. In the snow, on the road, at your place. And you get, like, even the governor of New York was like, see, why am I going to give you guys a dome?
It was pretty mind-boggling that with like everything set up there, like the conditions in Buffalo, that they were just, not that they lost, but that they lost pretty handily.
They lost right away. The game was over within the first 7 minutes.
That's what's the most shocking, was because it was that big of a gap.
I wasn't shocked. Like I said, Joe Burrow is an assassin. Here's Sean McDermott on his thoughts on the outburst that happened with Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen.
That's what makes him good is what you saw. Is he's very competitive, like we all are. We work extremely hard at these jobs to be the best we can possibly be, and it hurts. And I wouldn't want a guy that it doesn't hurt, right? So he put it all on the line out there. We put it all on the line, and tonight it wasn't good enough. And that's the part that stings.
Yeah, that salary cap's going to sting too. I'm sorry. There's no sympathy for the Bills. They were supposed to be the crown. They were supposed to be the story this year. Everybody was supposed to love them. They've never won it. Guess what? You still haven't won one. I'm being very, very methodical in my flex on Bills fans. Yeah, well, where are you guys? Right next to us. I'm working with my kid, when she comes home and does math. I'll say, you know what? Anything that minus 0 is the same number. So, for example, 6 minus 0 is still a 6. But 0 minus 0 is still a 0. And that's what's happening in Buffalo. That's why I know this one stings. That's why social media is mighty quiet. They talk about how Dallas Cowboys fans are this, that, and everything. Oh, boy, Bills fans are something else.
Yeah, like they had heartbreak last year against Kansas City. Now we'll think of them now.
But even like in Super Week, the parody from last year. Super Week said, you will go to Kansas City and you will lose. This year, I said I wasn't going to parody the Bills. So much has happened. A lot was going on. There's a part of you saying, hey, it is a feel-good story. But as a Patriots fan, a better feeling story is what's happening right now, is what happens right now. I guess there will be no game in Atlanta next week, huh? And then they had 2 straight games in Detroit this year. Remember that? Because of the excessive snow that they had there.
Oh yeah, they moved the game and then they had Thanksgiving on against Detroit.
3 days later in the same stadium. My goodness. Do you want us to hold it? No, let me stop. Let me not even say that. I know it's the blue hours, but I can't get that blue. But yeah, it's one of those situations where you're like, how much more can the league do on your behalf, and you still fail? Maybe that's an indice of society, right? I keep bailing you out. What ends up happening? You're in jail. Keep bailing you out. You just keep going. And that Von Miller contract now looks really tough on the books. Really tough. And it's an Achilles, I believe, isn't it?
I think it was a torn ACL.
Torn ACL, that's it. Torn ACL. So you're asking an advanced age guy to come back from a torn ACL who's due $18 million next year, but if you're trying to move him, he's 40 large dead on your books.